Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine's interview series. I'm David Boone, Associate Publisher at CDO Magazine, and we're partnering with the MIT CDO IQ Symposium and the International Society for Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of talking to Hayashi at JGC. Tell us a little bit about JGC company and your role at the company.
JGC used to be Japan Gas Corporation, but now we call it just JGC. So we are a contractor building usually refinery or energy plant or chemical plant. So what we usually do is engineering, procurement, and construction.
Excellent.
So what we do is quite complicated because partially because our project is huge, like probably 3 billion to 10 billion or 15 billion sometimes, and we may execute it alone or probably by joint venture with other big construction companies. Yes.
Excellent. Can you talk about some of the challenges that you face as a company faces as it pertains to data?
Yes. Right now I'm working in a department called EPC, which as I said, engineering, procurement, and construction. We call it EPC. So EPC DX department, digital transformation department, where we actually trying to find a way to not only improve what we do, but also try to make innovation through data, because the construction business has a long history, probably more than 2,000 years, but I would say it's very much behind compared to other industries in terms of usage of data, information, IT. So what we are trying to do is we reduce the cost of construction by making use of data, and also we enhance communication among the parties, especially with the client, ourselves, vendors, and suppliers, so that whole industry become more productive and efficient. So that is the biggest challenge, what we are trying to do, yes.
Excellent. So that means that you probably are working with a lot of unstructured data because of the construction industry.
Yes.
And so how do you kind of work with the vendor community as well, bringing them up to speed, not only just at your company, but all the other vendors that have to go along with that construction, right? In terms of construction, how do you bring them along in that digital transformation process as well?
Well, that's a very, very good question. You know, well, beside what we are doing, trying to achieve, we also have some international initiative among these industries. So we have clients like ExxonMobil, Shell, or British Petroleum, and all sort of we call it super major companies. So our vendors, especially equipment vendors, they are selling big, huge compressors, pumps, and steel structure. All those people actually, they deal with our client after we finish building the plant. So the vendor will provide maintenance, support. So the team of our clients, together with our EPC contractor, try to form sort of a community that we actually propagate our ideas, so that the vendor will be convinced to provide data to sort of work together with us and then establish some common way of communication, such as probably through API or latest web technologies. So that's why we are all moving forward together, not only contractor, not only client, owner operators, but also vendors.
Excellent. So do you find yourself kind of focused more on and probably more data innovation or kind of cost saving projects while you're in the middle of building?
Well, the answer to it is actually I'm focusing on the innovation, but we cannot forget about one fact, that trying to reduce the cost is also through innovation. So what we are trying to achieve is probably, not really, rocket science, but then just making use of existing data and then cleansing the data and then try to keep the data quality. But sometimes just trying to do actually requires some innovation. It's not only technology, it's actually through some cultural change, people mindset change. So all this all together will bring innovation. So that's what we are concentrated on. Yeah.
So, and I'm glad you mentioned that. So you mentioned about culture, you mentioned about, kind of having that, innovation part and the innovation kind of driving the cost savings. So in all of that, where do you see kind of the bottleneck in that process in trying to bring along that transformation?
Well, as you just mentioned, we have been doing our job through lots of documents, right? So our culture has been built upon documents, really, like specifications, procedures, drawings, and emails, So without actually analyzing what's the contents of the documents, the document is consisted of, the information, and information is built on top of data. So I also belong to Data Management Association. We call it DAMA. So we actually have a DM book, Data Management Body of Knowledge, which describe that we start with raw data, which will be formed into the information, and the information will be arranged to create a knowledge. So the documents or information could be just the expression of the data. But then if we only deal with documents, we lose sight actually what the data structures are. So it's all pieces of data actually building whole business. So that's why, so that is the biggest challenge, that we deal with data instead of documents, but we still need documents because we only could read documents. So, so that we can understand semantic, meaning of that. But then the computer cannot usually read documents, understand the contents, but it's easier for them to understand the data. So we have two sides of coins.